373-520.
One Democrat.
I have a question for you about the healthcare. What is what do you do if the healthcare decides to raise rates, just to offset the fact that we have a small company in Mass, and when we just renewed our health insurance policy, they raised the rates on us. When we were asking them why, they said because it costs more.
How much? What percent?
I would say, well, they're taking out an extra $350 a week. You know, so they did not raise our dental, but they did on healthcare. $3.50.
Oh, $3.
So it's all so my question is, when you see healthcare, and I know I read an article about the lobbyists down there saying that if the bill passes, they're going to raise it anyway, just to prove to the government that healthcare was not going to be economical anyway. And Congress can't exactly walk up and tell them what they can and can't charge, per se, as an independent business. So how do you fight against that? If they want to raise rates, they can raise rates anyway, even if you do pass the bill. And I mean, they can pick up, I don't know how many people, 32 million, but they can still raise rates. So, I mean, it looks like you can say we got health care, but all our rates went up. So how do you fight that if they're going to raise rates anyway, regardless of whatever you do?
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, the states are going to form exchanges. Last summer, the plan was to have the federal government run these exchanges, the marketplace where you can come in and shop for your insurance. So, but the states are going to run it. But they do have a provision to look at it if there's a very, very big increase in rates. And so they could decide that they can't come into the exchange. Right now, insurance companies are going to add about 32 million new customers. So I think that they're going to want to be able to be in the exchange there. The other part of it is that right now, my friend called me and told me that her rates went up in New Hampshire 37% the other day. So you're right. I mean, the rates are increasing everywhere. And I know in California, right in the middle of the health care debate, they raised them 37%. So that was really bad timing for them if they wanted to score for PR. That was not the right time to hit the Californians with a 37% increase. So the idea is, first of all, to slow down the rate of increase by a number of provisions that they're looking at. Preventive care. Eventually, everybody will get preventive care without co-payments, to try to nip a problem beforehand, to make sure that the insurance companies don't actually have so much more to cover, if the people are healthier. But they can raise rates. I mean, we're going to keep the same insurance for most people. If you have an employer, and that's where your insurance comes from, we're still going to be an employer-based insurance. So you know that if you have insurance and your job continues and your employer opts to keep you insured, that, first of all, that will stay. You won't be in any exchange. You won't be anywhere except with your employer, which is the idea. But that rates will go up. The idea is to try to slow the increase, and if there's anything so dramatic and so unreasonable that it can be reviewed. So again, nobody can say that rates won't go up anywhere, but the kinds of jumps that you're indicating, and yours is actually pretty good. Like I indicated, 37% increase is just unbelievable. My friend who has a child with intellectual disabilities now has an insurance of almost $30,000 a year. A year. So, and one of the things is that we're not going to allow them to keep children off their policies anymore because of pre-existing conditions. So this will help a lot of families in that situation. But just as everything goes up, this will go up. The idea is to slow it and to make more options available and to give you a place, if you don't have insurance, to go into that market that I talked about. Now, if you can't afford it, that's another problem. Obviously, there's people who can't afford the insurance and not getting it offered through an employer, or it's too expensive. Then you will be able to go into the exchange or the marketplace, and that starts in 2014. The reason for the delay is because you can't just shock a system. There are some provisions that start right now, and there are other provisions that will start in 3 years so that they'll be set up and thought out, and if there's bugs in it, they'll be able to work them out. But when you get into the exchange, or as I call it, the marketplace, it's like going into a grocery store and you want to choose a shampoo. Well, this time you're going to go in to choose an insurance policy. And there'll be different companies, and they'll be offering, they have a minimum that they'll have to offer, and then there'll be different levels there. And you will get to choose. Now, if you fall into certain income levels, and for a family of 4, it's going to be under $88,000, you're going to get some help. It'll be like applying a coupon towards a shampoo. You know, it'll be a credit, but it's like a coupon to reduce the rate. Because we know that there are people who can't afford it. And if you're under 133% then of the poverty rate, then you'll go into Medicaid. And because so many doctors don't take Medicaid, we're going to reimburse them at a proper level. And the same part, in order to help drive down costs, is we're going to make it so that more doctors will be primary care physicians, family doctors. They'll get more help going through medical school, and they'll be reimbursed in a better way. What happens is a lot of the doctors have to go on for specialties to be reimbursed at a higher rate because they have so much medical school debt. So we're trying to make it possible for them to go to medical school, come out without the same debt level, say that they'll be primary care physicians, and then reimburse them at a rate so that they too can pay off their debt and be able to work in that field. So there's a lot of things being done to hold down the cost. They'll use other different healthcare providers if people want to use a physician assistant. There's going to be more people coming through the pipeline, more nurses. There's just going to be a number of provisions to help more people come into the medical field and to be able to slow down the costs.